Thanks for joining. Yes, thanks for starting the recording, Farah. Again, thanks for everybody joining. We have some other folks who will be getting the recording who couldn't make it. So we'll be posting on our website. My name is Ali Rakimov. Some of you know me, some of you don't. Let me kind of give a quick background about Sprint, what we do, and kind of our background. So we started Sprint QA a couple of years ago. I've been in tech for about 9 years. I've built my own startups. I've worked with a lot of private and public companies and managed product and engineering kind of teams. One thing I saw was that we had a lot of, initially it started as a family deal. I had my nephews who were working, going to community college, flipping burgers at McDonald's, and a lot of relatives who worked at coffee shops who were really good, but they just didn't know how. And so it started as an experiment with my own family and friends. And once I was able to, within a short period of time, kind of teach them the skills and place them with high-paying jobs, I said, let's grow it, let's institutionalize it. And so that's how Sprint QA started. Our goal is to ensure that and that's how the name is. For those who know, like there's a sprint, running sprint, but also Sprint is within agile methodologies used within engineering tech teams quite a lot because it's every 2 weeks you have a sprint and you're supposed to build something and deliver it to the customer, hence the name Sprint. Another thing we specifically use Sprint for is to ensure that we cut out all the fat, all the theoretical aspects that are not needed by employers, and we only teach you what's actually needed. Keep in mind, this is a bootcamp, right? And bootcamp teaches you just enough for you to be able to be successful at your job, for you to be able to have some level of competence when you start working. But the learning, the growing doesn't stop there. So we started like with one QA program, QA quality assurance automation program. Then we added DevOps, cybersecurity, and Salesforce is something that we're just starting, and we're very excited about this, and I'll get into the whys of it. But this is a brand new program, and where we've seen some success with students being able to finish and kind of get high-paying jobs. And so we'll talk about this. But as you can see, we try to really focus on niche-based kind of jobs. We're not like we're not teaching you full programming. We're not teaching you all of that. We believe that with some niche kind of specialization, niche kind of knowledge, you'll be able to make as much or more than developers and still have a good paycheck and a good work-life balance. So with that said, let me start with our mission. Our single mission at Sprint is to quickly teach you the skills to land you a high-paying job. That's it. We're not here for you to learn about Salesforce and all the other things. You have to be able to really commit the 12-week, which is about 3 months, really prioritize it in your life. And then once you go through the whole process, be able to find a high-paying job. Let's go next. Okay, so what is Salesforce? Salesforce is a cloud-based customer relationship management platform, okay? In other words, CRM. A lot of enterprise companies, specifically you talk about like big retails, banks, financial institutions, e-commerce companies, right? They use CRM. All of us who buy stuff, be it a service or a product, are within some company's database, and which keeps track of all the touch points, right? When John bought something, when Ali signed up for something, when some salesperson talked to him, right? All of the salespeople and business account representatives use Salesforce to really make sure that they're tracking us, they're sending us right notifications, they know in what flow they are, like which sales funnel they are, what to advertise to us. So Salesforce is a really, really big tool that initially started with salespeople and then grew exponentially, and we'll get into those numbers. But in essence, this is almost becoming its own programming language. It has its own programming language called Apex, which we're gonna get it into. But it's not crazy like a lot of coding. It's a little bit user interface, small stuff with a web interface, and a little bit of programming. But in essence, Salesforce is used, it's a leader within CRM industry. And if you don't know what CRM is or trying to understand, you can just Google CRM and kind of learn more about that. what does Salesforce admins and developers do, right? So there's two things that we're teaching as part of this course. It's an admin aspect and then a developer aspect. So administrators manage security, profiles, roles, and user accounts. We'll, during or after kind of my speech, Bega, who's going to be your instructor, is going to might do a screen share and kind of show you what it is. Some of you might know what Salesforce is, but if you just Google like images and take a look at Salesforce, it has its own dashboard, lots of buttons, lots of kind of clicks through, but in essence, you'll be helping companies manage their security, profiles, roles, and user accounts. As a Salesforce developer, you'll be managing and customizing the technical side of an organization's Salesforce instance. So what does that mean? It means that Salesforce is a very blank kind of tool which you can customize. Not every company is similar. Not every company's customers, products, services are similar. A lot of companies have different processes, and they want to customize it, right? So think about kind of manufacturing, right? Not every factory is same. There's some stuff that is similar, but based on the size and whatever kind of dimensions of a product that they're manufacturing, certain things need to be enhanced or customized. And this is where you're going to come in as a Salesforce developer, be able to tweak, make some changes, or enhance Salesforce to address business needs. So why should you become one? This is the best part of it. And if you ever go to Indeed and just search for Salesforce developer, there's a lot of need. There's about, right now, this is something we got data from yesterday, 3,500 jobs, and it's very specialized niche. And as you can see, depending on your locations and stuff, it starts like lower hundreds, right? Average that Indeed comes up at $110,000, and this is for junior to mid-sale kind of senior level. One thing we always talk about in our boot camps is every person that comes in is different. The best part about sprint schools is that you do not have to have a tech background. You could be an Uber driver, you could be working as a waiter somewhere, or a teacher or whatever. But we also know that some people might have technical background. So it really depends on your knowledge, on your competence, how well you're able to absorb certain material and develop yourself. To sell yourself as a senior Salesforce developer versus somebody junior. It also, some people are very solid, competent, but they're not confident going Salesforce and say, hey, I'm okay just starting first year as a junior or mid-level engineer. But overall, it's a very solid kind of career track, which starts in kind of lower 100Ks. So where do Salesforce developers earn more in the US? So the blue gray areas, right, like Southwest, East Coast, like it's about the same, but Southwest, like when you see like California, Nevada, Colorado, like including Arizona, it's growing. So they earn in like higher, kind of mid 150s as a starting, and as you become more kind of senior, you become an architect. After like developers, there's architect and other things, more certifications you get, the trajectory is looking even better. As far as the top companies, as you might have assumed, like for some of you, you might, like other than Wells Fargo and maybe American Red Cross, most of the companies that are hiring are IT kind of contracting or like middle layer companies, right? They work with a lot of enterprises, big companies you've heard of, and they're providing them headcount. They might have a 6 to 5 year projects with Salesforce, and they provide them experts where you will come in as an expert and help those companies kind of customize their Salesforce. So Stephanie IT Solutions, Infosys, right? Aditya Birla Group, those are a lot of kind of contracting companies who will be paying you to work for client sites. So for example, if I work for Infosys and one of their clients, let's say Toyota Financial needs Salesforce, they have a project. Usually Toyota Financial doesn't go and hire full-time. They say, okay, this is a project with a kind of fixed project. It's a 2-year project. So they go to Infosys and say, here's what we need to do. Help us. And that's what Infosys comes and says, okay, we'll give you 10 people where you will be one of them and you will go and work for those kind of client solutions. And Infosys will be paying you kind of big bucks to do that. Once Toyota's financials kind of work is done, then let's say GM comes and say, hey, we also want to do it, or some other company, and this is where you'll be working for Infosys. In some other companies, It's also called direct to hire. Some companies want somebody fixed full-time and without any kind of timelines. So they will also be able to hire you directly. But overall, it's a lot of kind of contracting middle layer companies who will hire these positions. Next, so why is it growing? I mean, it's very obvious that for those who are like following, like who know the tech, everything is moving to cloud, right? As more things are moving to cloud, as more optimization comes, cloud-based solutions, which Salesforce is one of them, is becoming the norm. A lot of companies who used to have their own servers in their sites are outsourcing it to cloud, and as part of that, everything is web-based. You can do your work from your mobile phone, you can do your work from your laptop, anywhere with an internet connection. And because of that, you no longer need to have Excel sheets, dedicated Excel sheets in your laptop, or kind of some in-house, you have to go to office to be able to access certain things. So because of cloud, Salesforce is gaining a lot of potential. Overall, the net new revenue worldwide stemming from Salesforce. And what it means is any company that's using Salesforce and their customers, right? It's about 1.6 trillion industry. It's a huge, huge industry. And it's actually incorrect. I accidentally put the dollar sign, but there'll be net new, like until 26, 9.3 million jobs worldwide. So the good thing is US is the leader, and we'll get into that. But if you're somebody who's traveling and wants to work, there's opportunities for you in South America, in Africa, in Middle East, wherever. Salesforce kind of experts are needed everywhere. So quickly about kind of the demographic of our bootcamp based on 2 years. So we are mostly working with folks in the US. We work with some students who are based in Europe and other places. It's a company that was started in Arizona. We mainly focus in kind of Southwest, but we have had students from New York, Georgia, North Carolina. Mostly it's 60% male, 40% female. We have a lot of youngsters. We have students like who just graduated high school. We've placed them. We had college students who are like either like doing something like computer science majors, because hey, after a 4-year degree, like it's very hard to kind of find jobs, right? So, but also we have somebody who's like Uber driver, nurses, teachers who are like really burnt out and really tired of working kind of paycheck to paycheck, and they want to really switch their careers into tech and start making big bucks. And so this is some kind of high level. Usually majority is 20 to 40-year-olds, but then we have some folks who are kind of coming later. They might have some experience. They need to polish or massage their kind of skills to pivot. They might be already working with companies who want certain type of engineers, and so they're like, this is the bootcamp for them. As far as the format, we usually work weekends and evenings to make sure that we can accommodate working adults. Another thing is we're fully virtual. As part of the curriculum, we actually specifically introduced Zoom and Slack, because this is what you'll be doing with your colleagues once you join those tech companies. A lot of companies use a lot of Slack, maybe WebEx, maybe different Skype if they are Microsoft users, or Teams, kind of another synonymous kind of product for Slack. But you have to really learn how to communicate and collaborate with your colleagues. So this is something you'll be doing once you join. There'll be channels, there'll be kind of groups, and you might kind of create your own kind of buddy systems where you'll be talking to them, like going over assignments or kind of communicating on interview prep. And we want to make sure that you have exposure to it from the get-go. And again, like there's no tech background required. Our goal is to make sure that you go from zero to at least junior to mid-level engineer by the end of the course. And by the way, if anybody has questions, feel free to keep writing them in chat. The way I'm gonna go over it, then Bega is gonna go over his academic stuff and the curriculum aspect of things, and then we'll deep dive into your questions. And we have ample time, so any questions will get addressed. So no worries there. But overall, it's very flexible kind of format. We've had a lot of success with this because we do know that some people need to work, they need to pay for their rent and other things. And so this is super flexible. And it's really, really one thing I want to emphasize, it's result driven, it's results oriented. Our goal is to make sure you get a big pay, kind of big a job that gives a big paycheck, either double or triple your current paycheck. If we're not doing it, we're not successful, and this is our single mission. Go next. There we go. So curriculum, big rocks. So as I said, Bega, do you want to take over? Do you want to quickly talk about kind of 3 buckets we have here?
Yes, Ali. Hey, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm Beganj. You can call me Bega. I'm joining this from Phoenix, Arizona. So currently, I'm a Salesforce developer. I worked on a couple of projects with Eagle Creek IT, and then currently I'm working with American Cancer Society as a Salesforce developer. I have my position as a technical lead developer with that company and a Salesforce platform. So yeah, this is a 3-month program for 12 weeks. And then we plan to conduct 4 weeks, to spend 4 weeks in an administrator curriculum. It has, I think Ali mentioned that in the beginning of the presentation, we need to first start with very foundational understanding of Salesforce, including Salesforce security, profiles, roles, and as well as Salesforce has 2 different types of programming. One is called declarative programming, other one is called the code, like you're writing a code in Apex, we call it. It's similar to Java. So in administrator 4-week program, we will more focus on admin skills, including declarative programming and like drag and drop programming. It's easier one when you compare it with code programming. And then for the next 6 weeks, it's about maybe a month and 2 weeks, we will focus on developer. In developer, we will learn Apex. And then maybe Ali, at the end, I can just very briefly share how is Salesforce platform, and then what's the developer console if we have time left.
Absolutely.
Because that's very important to understand the general idea, very high level understanding of this Salesforce. And then because Salesforce is a big world, you will see that when you start learning and then deep diving into the curriculum and on all the topics, you will see there are a lot to learn. But our main goal is to achieve our students, our members are getting at least administrator certificate at the end of this bootcamp, as well as developer certifications. When you have those 2 certifications, you can very confidently actually put your resume in any job searching websites, and then you can actually find jobs starting from junior level up to senior level. Because I personally experienced all those steps, and then I think it's going to be a great opportunity for me to share my experience with some new members. And then for the last couple of weeks, I will more focus on interview process, like the tell me about yourself story, how you will build your story, and then how we can build your project. It's very important part, actually. We can even spend our time, the Saturday sessions, maybe at least 30 minutes, but having a mock interviews with the students, with the members, make sure that they're fully ready when they graduate from our 3-month bootcamp. And then I also put the topics that we will cover as a developer and administrator. At the end, you will see that Salesforce, we call it SF, actually, that's a Salesforce administrator. As a developer, we will learn Apex, unit testing, and then the most rising and the important thing is Lightning Web Components. I know it will take time to learn this particular topic. It might take more than 2-3 weeks just for that part, but it's very important. And then maybe a week we will spend also integration, because Salesforce involves a lot of integration with the legacy system, with the original company's website. So this is, I can talk about this now at this time, but at the end I can also share my, not slides, share the Salesforce and then Dev Console as well. Ali.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. And sorry, I forgot, I got into this sprint story and I forgot to introduce you. So Bega is a really great friend of mine. And one of the things that really gets me excited about this is because our whole mission was to really bring people who were either afraid of tech or engineering and coding and weren't able to kind of get into it. And Bega, who started, he's been a really dedicated math teacher here in Arizona. And if you know Arizona, like they don't pay their teachers enough. So he was able to like really transition to this. And so he has a lot of empathy for students who are coming to this from non-technical background, and he succeeded. So can you. So yes, thanks, Bega, for the overview.
Yeah.
Overall,
So I want to say I understand the perspective expectation from the people. So I will probably work more effectively, productively with them all. I believe. I hope.
absolutely, yes. And then so again, to continue on the overview of the curriculum. So we put PST. I think right now, like all of our courses are based on Arizona time. I believe we'll be starting the first week of March. Our first kind of class, it's going to be Monday. And by then, Arizona is one of those few states that doesn't change. So we'll be back to PST time zone. So if you're in Arizona, it's going to be 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So 3 hours. And then Saturday, 3 to 5 p.m. Those are the kind of class hours. Again, all of our classes, we are not doing any recordings. It's fully live instructor-led sessions, 3 hours each, weekly one-on-one sessions. We also have instructional aids as part of Slack, and as part of before and after class, there'll be some support. And I mentioned this is an end-to-end career support. So we will teach you what to put in your resume, how to kind of sell yourself when it comes to interview, and make sure you kind of get those jobs. Again, real world projects matter a lot. We'll also be providing part of this kind of experience job references. Another cool thing is there are actually a couple of things. So if you get your Salesforce kind of certified administrator, there's two of them, Salesforce certified administrator and Salesforce certified platform developer. I think they cost about $200 each. If you get them, we will credit you from the cost. And then we have an optional kind of computer science degree with one of the universities in North America. It's an accredited university where you can take, once you graduate our bootcamp, all you have to do, take 8 more classes to get your master's in computer science degree. And it's also virtual. And this is something partnership we work with them based on our specifically for our graduates. So yeah, there's a lot of pluses, especially if you see that, hey, like I have a history major, I'm a psychology major, I would really love to kind of really augment my resume with something more technical. You can go with that as well. But yeah, it's pretty solid. Baggage, maybe at the end of the day, do you want to go over dashboard? Do you want to share it now, or do you want to do it at the end, like the Salesforce dashboard, or maybe some kind of coding?
I want to share it at the end, but at this time I want to share a couple more points. You actually mentioned that. So for Salesforce, in one of our previous slides, you mentioned like what's the job opportunity and then high level paying jobs. So at this time, I can tell everyone that it's for particularly Salesforce developers, I don't really apply for administrator because developer is a little bit higher than admin part. It's pretty hard market. What I mean is like people are like crazily looking for Salesforce developers. I can feel that now because I'm still receiving emails, calls. My resume is still in those websites. I have to remove them because I'm currently working, and then I'm already busy with that. But I think this is a great opportunity, and then you can also research it yourself as well from different websites. That's one thing I want to mention. It's a great time, I think, to at least have some understanding and then start with something. Even if you want to start as a junior, you should try that. The second thing is this is going to be our first batch in Salesforce, so hopefully we will focus more and we'll provide more attention, more folks to be more successful for our repetition. So hopefully that's another aspect I want to mention as well, because I don't know how many students we will have. It might be smaller or bigger, but we will have a lot more attention to this particular batch to make sure that 100% is getting placed to somewhere in Salesforce aspects. That's what I want to share. I can share the website and then Dev Console at the end of the meeting, maybe.
Yeah, and that's a good point. So for some of the people, we know that some of them wanted to kind of join and they are really not interested in, some people might have like, okay, I really don't want to dev. So for those, there are some Salesforce administrator. If you just go and search on Indeed, like Salesforce administrator, the entry point is like from maybe 70s, 80K. But if you have a developer background and stuff, and it's definitely goes up. So thanks for kind of mentioning that. So another big question that everybody wants, how do I start and how much is it, right? So if you haven't been to our website yet, please go. It's called sprintqa.com. And then there's a apply now button. One thing, there's kind of 5 prerequisites, like we want you kind of check mark to make sure that we're aligned, right? This is called, again, I want to reinforce, this is called a bootcamp for a reason. Bootcamp, do not expect to learn to be an Olympic. It's like learning to swim, right? You're not going to be Olympic swimmers after 3 months. People who've even graduated with 4-year computer science degree have hard time kind of coding. So we want to make sure that you have the same expectations. You have to really put time and effort. If you have, and this is something that I always kind of reiterate and tell them, if you have some other things kind of going that really will not allow you to really spend 25 to 35 hours per week, this probably will not be it. But if it's something that you're saying, no, like I'm tired of living paycheck to paycheck, I really need to invest in myself, this is something we highly encourage you to prioritize in your life, because it will change your life. This is we have dozens of graduates who used to work as baristas, as Uber drivers in retail, etc. And now they make kind of good paychecks, like in hundreds of thousands, right? So if you can prioritize 25 to 35 hours, not only for the class, but also assignments and really kind of studying and putting your best effort, it will change your mind. But this is something you have to be aware of. Second thing is, because we also focused initially when we started 2 years ago on immigrant communities, we had some people who coming like they have very, very limited or no English. This is going to be very hard because all of our trainings are going to be in English. And so you have to have like really good understanding of English to also be able to kind of sell yourself in the interviews. That's not to say that, hey, like you have to have perfect English. As long as you can kind of live in the US and can speak, you should be good. One more question, like one more thing that a lot of people do not realize is that a lot of this IT, there's a lot of outsourcing with India, Ukraine, Mexico, like Ireland, a lot of people. So when you start some of the companies, when I remember 9 years ago I started, I really had a hard time even understanding my coworkers because of their English, because they work offshore. You will have teams that are on site and offshore. And so please be open-minded about that. This is a very diverse, like after globalization, after remote, especially after COVID, there's a lot of countries that have kind of coworkers now. I have my colleagues in Ukraine and India right now. And so you have to be able to kind of be open-minded about that as well. So talking about attendance, right? So one thing even though I think I haven't mentioned it yet, all of our live instructor-led sessions are recorded. But if you want to really, really leverage everything we have to offer, we highly recommend to a point of really mandating, like coming to each and every class. Yes, you will have those Zoom recordings later, but one thing that we've seen with some students is in the back of their heads, okay, there's going to be recording, so they're slacking. They're not kind of taking it seriously. And when the time comes to really interview and do mock interviews, when we do it, they're not ready. And the reason is because they're not fully present, they're not fully attending. So if you really, truly want to change your life, please ensure to come to each and every class. The recordings are there for supplemental purposes. Hey, I went through class, I have some questions, I really want to take 1 or 2 hours to kind of go and reiterate or kind of to make sure that I understood correctly or retain information better. That's what it's for. It's not to replace actual kind of classes. So even though recordings are there, we highly recommend to kind of attend every class, because again, it's immersive and intensive course. Second thing, positive attitude. Like you have to be open-minded. Again, the reason we say this, every student is different. All of us come from different backgrounds, different expectations, right? And everybody wants a certain way. Our way of teaching, once you start the class, we have a pace that we have to go that really addresses those who are really quick learners, who want to really just sprint really fast, and those who are having a hard time kind of grasping stuff. So we'll be repeating certain things so that everybody as a team kind of understands. But positive attitude is very important. You have to be open-minded. And this is something that will help you once you find a job. We have had a lot of, and I was part of the kind of teams that we let go a lot of experts because they did not have that team attitude and positive attitude. Even though you're going to be really good at Salesforce or whatever coding language, if you're not a good team player, sooner or later, people want to get rid of you. And lastly, as I mentioned earlier, you have to have a kind of start creating habits to learn beyond this bootcamp. It could be as simple as going to opening Google News and reading about Salesforce, going to Reddit, Quora, other places to kind of understand what they do, understand hits, tricks, and stuff, right? So keep learning, going to YouTube or other places to kind of understand beyond bootcamp as well. This is going to give you an edge to kind of get the job faster. With that said, we will have a learning management portal. We will provide you access to Zoom. We'll provide you we'll add you to a specific Salesforce batch kind of channel. But we also have beyond the learning management portal, where we'll be kind of posting the assignments, making sure providing some of the PowerPoints that will be shared before class, so you can go and kind of read and understand. One thing is not mentioned there for Salesforce. There's another. We're actually going to be from day one, I think, and Bega, please correct me, there'll be a Salesforce dashboard where everybody will have their user accounts, right? And this is the system that you'll be using a lot, so that you really get your feet wet, trying to understand what it is, and it will be more hands-on experience as well.
In the first class, Ali, that's the plan. We will definitely start setting up their Trailhead learning portals, and then making sure that they all actually have access to real org, the organization, Salesforce organization. I want to add a couple more ideas about one of previous slide, about the learning time. Commitment is very important here. You put 25, 35 hours per week. It might sound a lot besides your maybe full-time job or besides your family, because everyone is busy with different things. But this is a 3-month program, 12 weeks. Time passes so fast. If we can put this like effort, this commitment, and then if you communicate your any challenge with me or with any related person, we will have also another technical training staff as well. It's not going to be only myself. It's going to be very, very effective, and you will find great opportunities after 3 months. That's what I want to emphasize here. So this slide is very important. I like those bulletin points that you made actually about the commitment.
Yep. Thank you. So so main thing, right? So we're just starting at Salesforce, right? So because this is a first batch, we looked at there's several boot camps out there that provide similar kind of courses. Some of them are 2 months, some of them are 3 months, and usually the way it works with boot camps, you might pay some program fee, maybe 3,000, maybe 5,000, and the rest is collected once you find a job, right? So it's like maybe 1,000 or 2,000 per month once you find that kind of $120,000, $140,000 job. The way, so for everybody's sake, like it's $10,000 job, but one thing that with this program, and we just started, we always kept hearing from a lot of students that they are not even able to afford like 4,000. Usually with Sprint, like last 2 years, we've been doing it like 4,000 program fee and then 4,000 placement fee. What it means is during the period of the program, you pay that 4,000, and then once you placed, you will pay another 4,000. But we've seen that a lot of students are really struggling to pay because they have a lot of commitments. It's not easy, right? In this economy, especially. So we partner with an incredible kind of company that really processes the whole thing for us. It's called, the process is income share agreement. If you don't know what it is, please Google it. There are schools, like I'll give you one example. It's called Lambda School. They recently renamed. It's one of the biggest kind of coding schools, and they charge, once you grad, you don't pay anything, and once you find a job, they charge 20 to 30,000 based on your negotiation skills, right? And they used to take like 9 months, and I know like they've been trying to make it 6 months. Our is similar in that you don't pay anything like tuition wise until you're hired. The only thing you pay in this 3 months is $500. This is to set you up and kind of for admin fees and other things. Post 500, you don't pay anything until you actually hired and you find a job, right? And even then, there's like based on how much you want to pay every month, our kind of ISA provider will manage that. So this is a really, really great alternative. I know like 10,000 might seem a lot, but this is like 2 semesters in community college with no return on investment, no nothing. Our goal is to make sure that you have $100,000 job, kind of plus, and this is for 3 months. So from cost perspective, on a high level, those who apply, we will provide them a link for our kind of provider, and it will take them into options. This is not the only option. For those who say, hey, I really don't believe in taking a loan, I don't want that, we also have an option to pay kind of monthly, and you will see those options when you sign up and you get that link. And so you can pay upfront if you want, you can pay whatever, but this ISA is something that we're really pushing, because the only kind of downside is like the only kind of out of your pocket is $500. However, there's one thing very important to keep in mind, because this is a loan. After you have 2 weeks, one of the stuff, like after 2 weeks, if you're not happy, say like, no, this is not for me, you can drop off, and there's nothing like the loan there, like the whole thing doesn't count against you. But if you stay, like, let's say after 1 month, whatever kind of you stayed, like everything will be prorated, and you are liable for that amount. So this is like, we're very transparent. We do not believe in any fine print or any like really deceiving students. It's a very transparent system. But if you stay 3 months, one thing we definitely can virtually guarantee that if you stay kind of 3 months, you come to every class and you're ready to kind of go to the market, you will get this jobs, because it's a really crazy market. So if you have any questions, again, like feel free to send it. But that's it. We specifically try to kind of keep it short and concise. We will go over questions right now, Bega, and then post that you can kind of quickly go over kind of this Salesforce dashboard, what administrators will be using, and also kind of open up the console for the backend. So from questions,
let's do that.
Go over, go one by one. And by the way, like for those who join later, please, if you have any questions, feel free to send it. We also are recording this session, so we will send the recording for those who signed up, who emailed us, and we'll also post it on our website. Let me see. After we place the job, so do you still support us? That's a great question. Yes, so the way it works, Göksel, once you find the job, right, and that's very important. We've talked to a lot of people, and I think, Bega, you're one of them, right? When you've joined, there are some struggles. We do provide the mechanism to help you with that. In some cases, however, let's say you found a $140,000 job, you're doing okay job, but you're feeling that you're not kind of keeping up. We do have our partners who are overseas, with whom you can partner, and we will kind of go over that later, who will be able to kind of help you for a fee with your projects at work. This is not something, by the way, this is not something, this is pretty common with everybody, with a lot of kind of folks who work in the IT. And so, yes, we definitely will be able to support you there. The amount of support will also depend on what your project is, but there's going to be additional fees for that. Go ahead, Bega.
Yes, so I want to add a couple of words for that question. Like you mentioned multiple bootcamps going on, and then providing like 2 months to 6 month sessions actually for their learning. But again, Salesforce is a big company, big organization, and then there is not enough. Whatever you learn, it will be always releasing and updating their resource as well. So it's not going to be enough actually what you know. But if you start as a junior developer, you might not need, I think, or maybe if you start as an admin, because you will have full understanding of admin perspective in this camp. I don't think so. No one will need extra support if they apply as an admin, junior, or even mid-level administrator. But as a developer, if you want to apply as a mid-level or senior developers, you might need some extra supports, because that's how I also struggle in my real job as well now. So, but we will definitely talk more details about that later on as well. But that's what I want to share.
Another question we have, why don't you record the class? Well, yeah, we do record the class. We will share the recordings with you. So all of the classes are there. But as I emphasized earlier, please plan to come to class. You have to prioritize this. like if you're going to join, we really are looking for really serious candidates. So if you're serious to really kind of make a change, make a switch, only then apply. Another question that Göksel is asking, if I have a job and after graduation, I don't want to find a job in Salesforce area, what will happen? Do I still pay? So great question, Göksel. If you are not planning to work as a Salesforce post-graduation, please do not apply. It's as simple as possible. Yes, you will have to, you will be just like a loan, right? You graduate from university and you get a loan, student loan. This is a loan that will stay with you. Yes, so you will be liable for the $10,000. With this stuff, right? Every like student loan companies, they take a risk, right? They say, hey, I'm giving them this support so that down the road, once they find this job where they believe that we will do that, they take that risk. So if you are saying that you're not gonna, if you plan to not work and you're not serious about kind of working with Salesforce as a developer, once you find, please, yeah, you will be liable for this $10,000. Usually this type of companies, like loan companies, they work with accredited universities. We're one of the very few companies that we went through the whole underwriting process with this company. And we convinced them based on the numbers we had, as like, listen, out of 100 students that graduate, they finish our bootcamp fully. They finish our internal kind of mock interviews. They get the certification that we tech to them. They went through the whole hustle and they go to market. They have all of these jobs. They underwritten us. They believe in us. And so that's why they are doing this type of stuff. A lot of bootcamps struggle to really create their own ISA programs. So that's why they have to kind of really in-house it, meaning they have to find money to pay instructors themselves and do that type of stuff and really charge students up front. They might charge $5 to $6 to $12, whatever $1,000 during the program. One thing we specifically said, because we really are student focused, is like, listen, we want to make sure that students do not have to feel about kind of paying their rent or paying their school. What can we do? And this is something ISA came up as something that they can help them. It's like 3 months, or other than kind of the deposit, right? You only pay $500. You don't have to think about anything other than really taking care of your Salesforce assignments and coming to class, right? Once you finished it, we believe in our curriculum. We believe in the kind of our teachers that you will find a job. But yes, that's a great question, Göksel. Thanks for kind of asking it. Yes, you'll be reliable. As far as kind of paying back, it's a very similar system to loans. You go buy a car, there's payment plans. You go buy a sofa or something else, like even a student loan. It's a very similar to that. So it's up to you how you want to kind of pay back. There's minimums, there's maximums. More you want to pay upfront, less fees you're going to pay to that company. Any discounts if you have coding bootcamp, coding background, Anwar? No. We treat all of our students equally. At the end of the day, like even if you have coding kind of background, you might be making 80,000, and we're hopefully going to be doubling that for you.
That's going to be an advantage actually to be accepted as a senior developer if anybody has a coding background.
And more, and like some of the kind of senior developers, they do like 160, 180 as well. So depending on how good you are and what you can bring to the company. And keep in mind, like there's one of the stuff that we're talking about, in tech, there's a base salary, right? They might pay you 150, 140,000, but then there's bonus. And bonus fluctuates on your performance. It could be 10%, 20%, plus all the other benefits like Medicare, like medical, all of this. All of these are investments. So usually if it's a $150,000 job, your total compensation could be between 220 to 250,000 that company has to pay you, including taxes and all of the other things. Hi, I'm working as an SQA. What is the pros and cons for an SQA? By SQA, do you mean senior QA, quality automation engineer, Erdal?
That's how I understand it.
Yes, as far as advantages, I mean, I do not know the cons. I mean, I do not know how much you make today. If you're a senior QA and you make 140 and you love your job, maybe it's not. It could be like you can stay in your swim lane, but if you're SQA and you have some Java like background, like the logic of how to push certain things to GitHub or kind of general understanding of kind of coding, that could be a pros. As far as the cons, the only con I can think of, Erdal, is if you're making good money right now as an SQA, why switch? That's the only thing, unless you want to diversify, etc. Togai, will there be a real projects to work on? Do you help to get ready interviews, preparing resume. Yes, absolutely. So that's what I think Bega was talking about. Everything is based on real projects. You have to really understand the scenarios. You will be able to, by the time you finish and go through the whole interview process, resume process, and you as part of this kind of mock interviews, you have to be able to talk about your projects and be able to kind of, in essence, sell them in those interviews. So student-teacher ratio, yeah, that's a great question, Adira. So we're one of the rare companies that in the past, like we only had maximum maybe 20 students. We specifically believe in like small classroom size. So we will have about 3 teachers, and we will plan to bring some guest speakers. But if we have, I think we're gonna be going, if we have at least 10 students, we'll start. So this will be a very kind of private education. So the student to teacher ratio is like very small. So it's 1 to 3 maybe. Yep. Loan will be paid when I get a Salesforce job or any job I work on. That's a great question. I believe, so again, so this goes back to the stuff like our goal, and hopefully your goal, is to go through this 3-month, like 12-week bootcamp and work as a Salesforce associate, as a Salesforce engineer. If you have any plans of saying, no, I think I'm good, like being a teacher or like Uber driver, please do not apply, because yes, there are some, whatever amount you were making before, the same amount, if you go back to doing that with something else, the loan company will go after you. So yes, so this is specifically for those who want to kind of work in Salesforce, because then it makes sense. The return on investment makes sense if you're serious about working as a Salesforce developer. If you're not serious about it, please do not apply, because yes, you will be liable for that loan. Thanks, Togay, for asking that.
By the way, I think Ali, you clarified that that's not the only option. We will have different options as well, and then they can privately talk to you about that.
So again, yes, I think we mentioned it. So one thing in the last 2 years, one of the biggest things that students ask is like, hey, can you make it free? Can you make it like super cheap? Then I really don't care how much I need to pay once I find a job, right? We've been hearing it a lot and a lot and a lot, right? Usually we charge students, but if you say, listen, it's 10,000, I do not want to deal with kind of loan company. I do not, either because I do not want to, I have a bad FICO score, or because I do not want to, whatever it is, right? Like everybody has different personal reasons they do not want to work. Another option is like, hey, I will pay like per month myself directly. That's another option that the same company will address without you going through this ISA. So if you say like, really, I want to pay everything upfront or in a monthly basis without dealing with loans, that's another option. But we have in our history with very few people who opted for it. Usually people want us kind of pay as little as possible, and then once they're ready and they go to market, they pay only then. Any other questions? Yes, Ardell, you said yes. So yes, hopefully I addressed your questions. If there's any other questions, you know where.
There was one question, Ali, room is from Toga, about the real projects to work on, and do we help to get ready for?
Yeah, I think I addressed this. Yes, so Bega mentioned it. We do have real projects. Everything is from day one, like as Bega mentioned, right? Like you will get your user account for Salesforce. The system that Salesforce uses is called Trailhead. And as part of the Trailhead, as you're learning, you're also going to be working on real world scenarios. As part of your interview prep, and like kind of once you finish towards the kind of developer side, Bega and his team will be also working with you on hands-on experience on real projects, which you will be able to discuss in your interviews. Keep in mind, number one thing that people want when they hire you, and if you put yourself in their position, is somebody who A, is a good team player, B, has some competence, because a lot of very smart HRs and very smart, they hire for potential. Some of them hire for experience, but most of them nowadays, especially with this hot market, because there's not enough candidates, they hire for potential. As long as you know a little bit, as long as you can kind of discuss it competently in those interviews, you will be able to find jobs. But again, we specifically train you to make sure that you're very close to a mid-level engineer, where you will be able to talk about certain aspects, frameworks, and etc. about Salesforce, be able to swiftly answer any questions, so that they see you like you come as somebody who's been there, done that. Yes, so definitely it's an end-to-end support, Togay. Okay, Bega, do you have any other words? If not, then we have our email, we have our phone numbers. You can feel free to kind of ping us. For those who know us, who know me, or anybody who works with Sprint, you can ask, like, get in touch with us directly if you have any other follow-up questions. But yeah, really look forward to seeing you, and hopefully you'll make the right switch to change your career if you're not in the tech side of things right now. Bega, do you want to quickly show dashboards and stuff? Do you want to
yeah, of course. Let's do that. I'll take maybe 1 to 2 minutes just to maybe some of you might know that, some of you might have checked that already, but just one more time. You're still sharing, right?
Yeah, you can. If you start sharing, you should override me. Yeah.
Ali, you need to stop sharing.
Oh, I need to stop sharing. Okay.
All right. Ali, can you see my screen? Is it visible?
Yes.
So this is actually basically the Salesforce website. This is going to be what we will be working daily in our training sessions. And then you will see a lot of different stuff here. Whatever you see here is all related to admin perspective. Administrator actually manages this website. Users, many companies are actually switching to this Salesforce. They're utilizing, implementing Salesforce as a support, as a CRM for their organization, for their sales and marketing particularly. And then users just use them just to add some records. But administrators manage the website, like adding these different objects. And then it has a lot of stuff. I also want to show you what developers will be doing. So it has a developer console here. So when we start our developer sessions, this is called Apex. When we start our developer sessions, that 6-week period, we'll spend probably about 3 weeks for this coding stuff. This is very close to Java. If anybody has some kind of background with Java, you will have easy time. But of course, first of all, you need to understand the foundation about the background, because you will be learning all of these objects in your codes. That's two. And then there is one more stuff I want to share with this VS Code. I don't want to scare anybody, but this is going to be in the last 3 weeks, we will be working on Lightning Web Components. I also mentioned about that. After we master all stuff about administrator perspective and then Apex perspective, we will be also using this to work on our real life projects, because this is a UI perspective of that website. Yeah, that's all. And then I want to show you also, if you want to try this yourself, this is a trailhead that I mentioned. When we start working on this one in the training, we will make sure that everyone has their own usernames and accounts, and then you can actually start using this org from when you have your own free account. This is, by the way, free. There will not be any extra charge for that one, but this is a great tool. You can proceed even more. You can learn more stuff. There are thousands of topics that you can find here, and then you will get badges and points. And then here you can also keep your certifications. You will get your certifications and then connect it to this website. So this is all I want to show. If anybody has any specific questions, you can ask it now, or you can contact us about anything for clarifications. Okay, that's all, Ali.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Look forward to hearing your email or phone calls. Have the good rest of your Sunday.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye.